What's good, folks? Dark19 here, and I'm just here to ask you good for like, comment, subscribe, share this video to whoever wants to see this joint, if you don't mind. That's really up to you. Alright. Enjoy the video.
What good, folks, it's Dark19 and welcome back to another What If, and I believe this is What If Naruto was a Saiyan Part 2. If you want a next part, like, comment and subscribe. The author name is in the description, so please enjoy the video. Chapter 2. The Saiyan prince had mostly watched his charge as the both boys struggled daily with the glares, cold shoulders, and a few times on his birthday physical attacks. These benefited the boy more than even he knew. Ha! These idiots don't realize what they are dealing with. The boy is slowly turning into a Saiyan, and the Zenkai boosts they give him during these assaults only makes him stronger. Then Mizuki tries to kill him, and only firms the Gaki's resolve. I felt an even bigger draw a couple of weeks ago. I wonder what happened then. Vegeta frowned, remembering the draw brought about by intense sadness and rage, almost even to go Super Saiyan if the Gaki had all his power. What will it take to get him draw on my powers enough to pull him in and speak to him? He thought, noting a huge new barrier appearing over the cage. The Saiyan prince snorted, extending his hand and blasting the barrier before it could settle in the real world. It blasted Orochimaru across the forest canopy, but the impact from the initial seal still rendered the boy unconscious. The perfect opportunity for Vegeta to finally pull Naruto into his seal. 30W, where am I? Naruto asked groggily. You're in the seal, Yugaki, stated a voice. Do you have any idea how long I've been trying to do this? The whiskered Mark Jinchuriki spun and came face to face with something he wasn't expecting, a man only slightly taller than himself. Are you the fox? Ha! The fox has been dead since you were a day old, Gaki. No, I am Vegeta and I am the prince of all Saiyans, the man stated, crossing his arms. Oh really? Wow, that's kinda cool. So what do you want? Naruto asked nervously. To get out of this cage for one, but if I did it the old-fashioned way you'd die, the Saiyan prince stated coolly. Plus it would waste the potential to bring forth a new Saiyan race into this world. So here's my proposal. Take the seal off and absorb all that I am into you, my knowledge, my strength, my abilities, and my DNA to become the first of a new breed of Saiyan to combine this chakra and ki into something infinitely more powerful. And what's the catch? Naruto asked, not trusting the man completely, who simply smiled. Not as dumb as you betray, Gaki. Fine, the catch is I wanted to die in this world so those I left behind will wish me back with the Dragon Balls and return me home. This will grant me a massive Zenkai boost, hopefully to put me on par with Kakarot, Vegeta explained. Aside from my powers and abilities you'll be given from this, I'll use the second and third wish to return your parents to you, considering they reside albeit partially in the seal, though I'm not 100% sure it can be done, the Saiyan stated, pointing at the slip of paper. However, I feel their souls and they are lying dormant. This leaves me to believe they wanted to meet with you at some point in your life, mostly likely it was to deal with the giant furball. Naruto looked at the seal, shaking slightly, almost wanting to rip the seal off, just finally meet his parents. The deal that was given to him had almost zero downsides. If anything, it was arguably the sweetest deal anyone could possibly make, power strong enough to kill a Bijou and to have his parents in his life again. It's too good to be true, he whispered sadly. I have seen your life, Naruto, Vegeta being uncharacteristically sympathetic. If anything, this is the least anyone can do for you for suffering you've had. May whatever deity you would have to give you this, I feel you deserve them 10 times over, and that is coming from someone who blew up planets for fun in my youth. Looking pale at the mention of destroying an entire planet so casually, not even the Bijou capable of such a feat. Why, you really blew up an entire planet? Several, actually. Your planet's strongest warrior, this sage of the six paths Shinra Tensei technique, could create a huge crater. Its power level, I roughly surmise, would be about 560, though gauging it without first-hand seeing it is moronic at best. Vegeta paused. However, with that in mind, this man at most had a power level was 2,500 strong, but not enough to do more than make the surface uninhabitable. The same with this Madara Uchiha. The fox cursed about their strength and speed, barely scratched the sound barrier. The strongest of us, if he wasn't a complete baka, could destroy an entire galaxy if he wanted to. The Saiyan prince let loose a snicker, mentioning his longtime rival. What are you? Naruto asked tentatively. Vegeta growled slightly. I'm the second strongest in our universe, followed by the Baka's Gaki, then my son and the Baka's second brat, then the Namekian, and finally the Cue Ball's wife. You'll understand what I mean when I give you my abilities. Naruto nodded, thinking hard before taking a deep breath and walking up to the cage door, taking a shuddering breath, his hand hovering of the paper seal. With brief swish of his hand, the seal was gone, revealing a strange spiraling mechanism. However, this was rendered mute as Vegeta slammed his palm into the door, sending the gate flying over Naruto. No sooner the gate crashed to the ground, two figures appeared between him and Vegeta. "Is what you say true?" the male figure stated as the dim gloom of the sewer changed into a brightly lit white space. Naruto, however, recognized the man instantly. The fourth Hokage? The woman standing next to the man looked equally confused, expecting to see a large fox looming over them. "Are you Mika-san and Taozen?" The woman had long flowing red hair with deep violet-colored eyes, staring back at the boy with such love and compassion it caused Naruto ache. The woman knelt and stretched her arms wide, and it was all the invitation the whisker-marked blonde needed, flinging himself at the woman. "Oh my Sochi," the woman whispered, tears streaming down her face as she enveloped her son in a warm embrace. "Kasan," Naruto whimpered over and over, sobbing. "I take it you heard from the seal, and yes, what I say is true. However, I'm not 100% positive you can be revived. Simply stated, it is a gamble. Your souls have not fully gone to the other world yet, therefore it is possible that the Dragon Balls will revive you," Vegeta explained. "I'll take anything at this moment," Minato Namikaze stated softly. "I also agree with what you're about to do. If anything, I'd like to join you, give all my experience to Sochi." Kushina Uzumaki nodded. "Then let us begin." Vegeta walked up, putting both his hands on Naruto's shoulders. "Now the two of you put a hand on my shoulder. When the fusion begins, we will vanish and officially die, leaving everything to your Gaki, and I pity all those he encounters afterward, for they are in for a world of hurt to anyone that pisses him off." Both Kushina and Naruto cackled slightly. Few seconds later the entire area glowed. 30 DBZ Universe 30 Porunga, my first wish is to revive Vegeta and bring him forth to this world, then shouted. "Your wish is granted." The huge muscled dragon spoke. A flash later and Vegeta stood looking around before crossing his arms, glaring at Goku and Dend. "Took you long enough? I've been waiting for 13 years, Kakarot." The Saiyan Prince scowled. Goku blinked, scratching the back of his head in confusion. "Really? Wow, that time jump is amazing. It's only been what, a month, Dend?" "Not even that, 3 weeks since Janemba. He's dead, by the way," Dend explained. "What is your second wish?" The dragon growled, looking on impatiently. Vegeta stepped forward, looking up at something. 10 years ago he would have gladly asked for immortality. "Den, the world I came from, 2 people sacrificed their lives to protect their home and sun, sealing a part of their souls into a seal to help maintain it. Even though their physical bodies had expired, does that include their souls?" Den looked confused but addressed the Namekian dragon, and its reply, "No, their souls had not been sent to other world until recently, therefore the deaths count as recent. Do you wish for them to be revived?" "Yes, for the second wish I like to see Minato Namikaze revived, and for the third I like to see Kushina Uzumaki revived," Vegeta stated to Dend, who relayed the wishes to the dragon, whose eyes glowed with each wish. With that the Dragon Ball zoomed into the air, then split, soared into 7 different directions. Both Dend and Goku were smiling at the Saiyan Prince. "What? I'm amazed at you, Vegeta. It's the first time I believe you were thinking of someone other than yourself," Dend stated. Vegeta growled, turning his head, his cheeks turning pink. "Bah, I did it to pay back this Gaki I met. In return of getting a massive Zenkai boost, I gave him my knowledge and powers, as well as giving him back his parents, considering his life was worse than mine." Goku patted the prince on the shoulder. "I get it, you're all right. Shut up, Kakarot. When we return to the Earth you owe me a spar and an explanation on how you defeated that red-skinned goofball Janemba," the Saiyan Prince states. "Sure, but can we stop back at my home? I'm a bit hungry," Goku stated, a bright smile on his face. "Fine," Vegeta's own stomach growled. "I hope your woman doesn't mind cooking for one more." "Nah, Chi-Chi won't mind, I think," Goku chuckled, putting his fingers to his forehead as he grabbed both Vegeta and Dend. A second later, with a brief goodbye to the gathered names, the trio vanished. Chapter 3. 2 figures appeared in a large rocky area some 2 miles outside Konoha. One was dressed as he died, wearing his Jonin attire with the 4th Hokage cloak white with red flames on the hem. Next to him stood a beautiful redhead, dressed not in the maternity clothes she wore when she died, but an outfit that often depicted her secondary title of Red Death, a sleek blood-red bodysuit, an armor harness that crisscrossed between her breasts with armor that protected her shoulders, armored-backed fingerless gloves, shinobi boots that extended to her knees, her Konoha headband tied to her forehead. She bore 2 Kadachi, one strapped to her right shoulder and the second across her back. It would seem that Vegeta-sama wishes were granted, Kushina-chan. Kushina nodded, her eyes darting around for a second. According to what we saw in his memories, Sochi and his team are in the Forest of Death taking the Chunin exams. Yeah, Minato frowned heavily, focusing on the Hiraishin seals he had placed in secure areas around Konoha in case he needed to be there at a moment's notice. Most of the seals are still intact. Care to scare an old man shitless? Kushina smiled, an evil fox-like smile, the same kind Naruto would get before pulling a massive prank. Oh yes, I have a couple of people I want to talk to, namely Sochi's godparents, and they better have a really good reason for neglecting their duties or Kami help them. The blonde former Hokage shuddered internally. Few things scared him, but an angry Kushina downright terrified him. He wrapped an arm around his wife's waist, and in a yellow flash the two vanished from the field. 30. Naruto sat up looking around. He spotted Sasuke unconscious next to him, sweating profusely, and from what the whisker-marked Saiyan could sense, the Uchiha's chakra was becoming foul and tainted. However, he could sense a power level just outside. Jumping to his feet, Naruto raced out, instantly on guard. Seeing the Auto Nin from the first exam in periodic states, the kunoichi of the group was down, bleeding from her mouth. The one who looked like a mummy was slowly standing up, while the one with the wild hair had Sakura down, his fist reared back. When this one let his fist fly slamming into Sakura's cheek, something in Naruto just snapped. Why you touched my Sakura? Everyone looked up as a massive blast of energy exploded out of the whisker-marked Saiyan. A second later, Naruto vanished and reappeared on top of the wild-haired Auto Nin, who barely had a chance to register shock before his head was literally caved in by a punch so fast and hard that the very air made a thunderclap. The Auto Nin was dead before his body went flying into the forest at supersonic speed. Naruto vanished again. The mummy Auto Nin tried to dodge the incoming blow he knew was coming, but he might as well be moving in tar. The strike was just too fast. Elbow embedded in his gut liquefied his internal organs before he too vanished into the forest, his body getting blasted away by the impact. The orange-haired Saiyan turned to the lone kunoichi walking up to her and extended his hand, a ball of energy forming. "Give me one good reason not to end your miserable life," he stated coldly. Naruto stopped. He heard Sakura stated, trying to stand, her face and body looking battered from her defense of her teammates as Team Guy and Team 10 looked on in awed horror. They had never seen anyone in their lives move that fast. Not even Guy and Lee could move that fast using the gates unless they opened them all. Her and her teammates attacked us in an attempt to kill us. Give me one good reason not to remove her from this mortal coil, Naruto stated surprisingly viciously to those in the group that knew him from the academy. Sakura stood there stunned. What did that Orochimaru guy do to you, Naruto? The rosette-haired girl walked up to him and did something uncharacteristic for her. She put her arms around him. Please, she's not worth it. She heard a sigh and felt more than saw him drop his hand. She then felt him turn in her arms and pull her into his arms. The moment those two arms wrapped around her, she felt safe, warmth. She was also a bit annoyed though now that she felt danger had passed. "And who said I was yours?" she muttered, trying to step away only for Naruto to hold her in place. She looked up into Naruto's eyes and what she saw startled her. "You are too good for Sasuke," came the reply, and before she could protest, the orange-haired Saiyan zipped in, kissing the rosette deeply and passionately. Fireworks exploded in Sakura's mind. At first she wanted to hammer Naruto, but as the kiss lingered she felt her hands slowly go from pushing him away to simply staying in place to slowly snaking their way around Naruto's neck, one hand desperately grabbing the fabric of his jumpsuit while the other was actually pushing the back of his head into her more. "I'm kissing Naruto," and her mind came to a brief halt as she melted into the kiss more. "Oh Kami, he's good." When they finally separated, Naruto took 2 steps back, admiring his handiwork, glancing at the other gathered, smirking at the dumbfounded expressions, not mention nosebleeds coming from Ino, the Auto Kunoichi, and Tenten. Meanwhile, inner Sakura had her own 2 cents to add. "Sasuke who? Do you have a scroll?" Turning to the Auto Nin, who nodded, handing it to him. Naruto looked at before slipping it into his hip pouch, as the group slowly came back to themselves. Sakura slowly crawled out of her kiss-induced stupor. She glanced at Naruto and blushed. Team Guy left after making sure Naruto and Sakura were good. Team 10 left after Ino helped Sakura straighten her hair. The lone Auto Kunoichi, however, had been tied up. No sooner had Sakura finished the last knot, Naruto felt Sasuke wake up. "Sakura, better guard our prisoner." Before asking what he meant, she saw Sasuke appear. "Sasuke, are you alright?" she asked, not noticing she didn't use the kun suffix. It did hurt that Naruto hadn't called her Sakura-chan though. "Never felt better," came the cold reply. "Like to try my new power though?" Sasuke glanced around, then focused on the tied-up kunoichi. "She'll do. Maybe after I break her I'll use her to revive my clan." The Uchiha paused as if to think about it. Yes, that sounds perfect." The Auto Kunoichi tensed in fear before the orange-clad boy stepped in between her and the Uchiha. "Not going to happen, team, so get whatever perverted shit in your head out." Sakura watched on, horrified. Did I just hear Sasuke say he was going to rape that girl after he beat her up while she's defenseless? That can't be true. "Get out my way, Dobi, it's not like you can beat me," Sasuke sneered. Naruto snorted, crossing his arms over his chest. "That power boost you got has 2 things working against you. 1, it makes you a pansy since you can't do anything on your own, and 2, it don't hold a candle to the power boost I just got. So unless you want your spleen pulverized, you'll back off." This girl is going to INT, said girl nodded frantically she'd gladly take that over the prospects of getting beaten and raped repeatedly by that monster. Sasuke ran forward kunai drawn Sakura shouted for him to stop, he ignored her, annoying little bitch after I take care of Naruto and have my fun with the whore behind him, I'll kill her claim Naruto did it. Running and seeing Naruto hadn't even brought out a kunai defend himself lunged forward only to be intercepted by Naruto's finger. The Uchiha repeatedly tried to stab Naruto with the kunai only meeting each strike with his finger which wasn't even bleeding. It's not possible how can he be that fast, he was never that fast before. What was he even more infuriating was Naruto's expression, he looked bored to tears. GRR, jumping back Sasuke went through a series of hand signs, fire style, fireball jutsu. He watched in satisfaction as both Naruto and the Oto Kunoichi were enveloped. Now Sakura, hold still this will only hurt for a moment, he stated cruelly turning to the rosette-haired girl who looked on in confusion for a second until she saw her crush drawing another kunai. Oh you didn't just imply you were going to attack Sakura-chan, came a voice from the smoke causing the Uchiha to spin around he saw Naruto step out of the smoke completely unharmed along with the Oto nin. For the second time since entering the forest of death Sasuke felt terrified, how? Naruto glared coldly at him before seemingly vanishing and reappearing right in front of him grabbing his shirt, listen here you team, I can take you bad-mouthing me, trying to burn me or kill me, but no one threatens Sakura, the orange-haired Saiyan growled. She is off limits period and if I didn't need you for this second exam or that would make Sakura cry I'd have killed you for even thinking of laying a hand on her, do I make myself absolutely clear? How did you get that kind of power? Sasuke growled in anger, fear, and envy. Do I make myself absolutely clear? Naruto growled through his teeth completely ignoring the Uchiha increasing his ki with each word. I don't give a shit about your stupid revenge against your stupid brother for whatever stupid reason you have, I'm giving you fair warning you try to betray the village or try to kill anyone I consider precious, I will make sure it's the last thing you do, that is a promise. The Uchiha shivered internally in fear what he was feeling dwarfed that of Orochimaru or his brother as Naruto shoved him away violently. Okay we can make it to the tower now, thanks to, what is your name by the way, Naruto turning to the Oto nin it's Kin, the girl stated causing Naruto to smile. Right Kin, thanks to her we got both scrolls, the Saiyan stated. Naruto that Orochimaru guy swallowed our heaven scroll we only have the earth, Sakura replied tentatively then raised an eyebrow as Naruto curled into a ball. No he didn't but he did something far worse, Naruto muttered tears in his eyes. Recovering slightly from his bloodlust Sasuke snorted, and that would be? He burned up my storage scroll filled with 5 days worth of Ichiraku ramen, Naruto shuddered. The horror. Sakura huffed but inwardly she was happy, apparently not everything about Naruto had changed. She instinctively licked her lips which had become slightly puffing from the kiss she shared with him, my first kiss and it was with Naruto of all people and I liked it, no not just liked it I wanted more I wanted him. What about Sasuke? Sakura glanced at her longtime crush shuddering remembering the bloodlust aimed at her. That bastard wanted us dead, and Naruto-kun saved us, protected us. Here's an idea when we get to the tower let's have ménage à trois with Naruto-kun and Hinata. Her inner personality stated Sakura frowned slightly. What are you talking about? Inner gave her a lustful grin, think about it riding him in a way he'll never forget while we watch little Miss Hyuga princess squirm from Naruto-kun's tongue, I'm just thinking about it gets my panties wet. The healthy blush decorated her face watching Naruto and Sasuke plan their route to the tower. Naruto was able to surprisingly draw a very detailed map of the closed-in area. Why include Hinata and why are we even having this conversation I like Sasuke not Naruto, I do right? She asked her inner. First, by what Kakashi-sensei said about Naruto-kun's life 2 girls is the least amount of payback Whiskers deserves. As for Sasuke the guy just tried to kill us, only a complete moron or a really bad manga writer would even consider staying with him after something like that. And didn't you hear the passion in Naruto-kun's voice, didn't you see the unconditional love he has for us in those beautiful baby blue eyes of his? Sakura remembered seeing them just before Naruto kissed her, the same love he poured into the kiss that followed, the same kiss that made her heart pound so hard in her chest. The trek was agreed to the trio and their prisoner headed in the direction leaping into the trees. Their path took them through forest having to stop briefly to help a red-haired girl with glasses who being chased by a bear. Naruto turned the huge mammal into tenderloin and was shocked to discover this girl was an Uzumaki. She joined them on their trek to the tower asking a dozen questions. Upon reaching the tower with no further incidents, they discovered the secret to the scrolls and opened them who appeared wasn't someone the trio suspected and one had a look both confusion and rage. Not possible I saw your body on the ground, how can you be alive, Kasan? Mikado Uchiha looked at her son for the first time in 7 years without a henge or clever makeup, and it wasn't even a look of guilt or remorse, no, it was a look of abject disappointment. What you saw was a blood clone, it dissipated 2 days after the massacre. I haven't been in the main compound since you were a year old, Sasuke. Why you left a clone to raise me in Itachi? What kind of mother would do that? Sasuke growled. A mother who outright despised her husband. I didn't want to marry him. I didn't want any children from him. I was forced to crawl into that bastard's bed. Mikado glared at Sasuke. If it had been my choice, you and your brother would never have existed, at least not in your present forms, reminding me daily what that fucker put me through, the woman cursed. Sasuke stood there stunned at the venom coming from the woman who gave birth to him, in contrast to the clone that raised him who had been far more docile. Then why let me think you were dead? To protect you and your brother. Do you truly think Itachi didn't slaughter his clan unless he had a reason to? Your power-hungry sperm donor wanted to take over the village and kill my godson simply because he was Minato Namikaze's son, Mikado stated. Sasuke glared at the woman. Then you should went on along with it like a true Uchiha. The Uchiha are a cursed clan, has been since Madara. To be born into that clan, and I'm glad it is almost extinct, Mikado said, glancing at Naruto, her harsh gaze softening. It's wonderful to finally see you face to face without all the layers of genjutsu and makeup. You look so much like Kushi-chan and Minato-kun. Naruto smiled, scratching the back of his head. Yeah, well, if things were done right, you've probably seen Tauzen and Kasan already. Mikado winced slightly. Yes, Kushi-chan went on the warpath. I think Jiraiya-sensei is still feeling the effects of it. While Sasuke seethed internally, drawing the conclusion easily that Naruto of all people was his god brother through the conversation, Sakura was completely stunned for 2 reasons: Sasuke's mother appearance, her animosity toward her own son, and the fact that Mikado stated Naruto's father was the 4th Hokage, and somehow not only was the 4th alive but so was his wife. Wait, you're saying that the 4th Hokage is alive? Sasuke stiffened, having forgotten who Minato Namikaze was in his anger, or the fact that his mother and Naruto stated that he was alive. Mikado nodded. Yes, how that came about, however, is classified. Only ones who know are me, Jiraiya-sensei, the 4th Hokage, Kushina Uzumaki, and Naruto here. The Uchiha matriarch gestured, crossing her arms over her chest. Kushi damn near killed the old man when he explained his reasoning, if Minato-kun hadn't been there. She looked up at the ceiling sadly. She wanted so badly to hug the redhead when she saw her, but the heated glare she received when she first appeared made it almost impossible. It was only through explanation and surprisingly her sensei and the old Hokage taking the blame that saved her from Kushina's anger. When the explanations had been given out and Mikado told Kushina that she did her best to look after Naruto even after she'd been denied her godparenting rights, that the two had a tearful reunion, hugs and a surprisingly passionate kiss from the redhead that was used as a prank on the 2 raging perverts in the room, who were blown back by massive nosebleeds. Even Minato had one. Minato-kun has no idea how many times Kushina and I discussed sharing him. I wonder if Kushi-chan's offer is still good. I'm still young and Kushi-chan has no fox in her now. We could provide Minato-kun with the big family he's always wanted, not to mention give Naruto real brothers and sisters. Putting those thoughts aside, focused on her wayward son, godson, and the rosette-haired girl. You've passed the 2nd stage of the exams. She raised an eyebrow at the redhead and brunette in the room. What do we have here? Karen Uzumaki, the redhead stated softly. Mikado smiled. Are you really? Well, that will make Kushi-chan ecstatic. She was afraid her clan was all but dead aside from herself, her Sochi, and her second cousin. She then turned to the tied-up Otonen. And the prisoner? Her name's Ken. Will Crazy Snake Lady and Scars be nice to her? Naruto asked. I think she may have info on that Orochimaru team we met in the forest. The Uchiha matriarch glanced at Naruto, then at Ken, and finally at Sasuke. Show me your neck, Sasuke, she said firmly. Sasuke reached up instinctively to the mark on his left shoulder. This caused Mikado to frown deeply. Better have Kushina look at that. She's already disabled Anko's Heaven's Curse seal. Leave it alone. Sasuke glared at his mother before he could back up any further. Naruto gave him a measured neck chop, knocking him out. There you go, Obasan. Naruto smiled as the dark-haired boy slumped forward for the orange-haired Saiyan to catch him. Mikado smiled. Thank you, Karen. Can come with me? Naruto, you and Sakura are free to roam. There are rooms down the hall and to the right for you to sleep, and there's a kitchen to left if you're hungry. Kushi-chan and Minato-kun will be here tomorrow. They're meeting with the village council to confirm it is them, and then they are going to lay down the law, so to speak. Mikado's smile turned predatory for a second. I would pity the civilian council if I cared, but I don't. Naruto returned the predatory smile with one of his own. After that, Mikoto threw Sasuke over her shoulder and ushered her charges away, leaving Naruto and Sakura alone, who headed toward the rooms to drop off their gear and one before heading off to eat. Once inside, Naruto walked over to the farthest desk and went about putting his gear on the nightstand by the table. He heard the door being shut. He turned, hearing footsteps rushing toward him. Ki he was sensing wasn't hostile, so he simply finished his turn and felt two arms wrap around his neck and then a pair of lips latch onto his own. Knowing who it was, he deepened the kissing, causing her to moan. Sasuke is not good enough for her, and not good enough for her, but I don't care. She's mine and I'll do anything to protect her. Naruto thought, feeling Sakura slide her arms to his chest, lightly grabbing the fabric of his jumpsuit, which he mentally stated he was going to toss the moment he and his parents got a place to live, or had a place to live. When they separated, he looked into the jade green eyes of the girl that meant more to him than anything in the world. There was confusion in those eyes, but he could see a spark. She wanted him, but wasn't sure if it was because of the kissing or if it was genuine. "Take your time, Sakura-chan," he said softly. "I don't know what's going on. You're both the same as before, but you're way different. And what I see when you look at me, it's kind of scary," Sakura admitted. Naruto nodded. "I want there to be an us, Sakura-chan. It's an even bigger dream than my wanting to be Hokage." Sakura gently played with his jacket sleeve. "What if there was another girl who wanted you as well?" Hinata, the orange-haired Saiyan, stated, causing her to widen her eyes. "I've gone through a lot of changes, Sakura-chan, in the last few hours. Some I'm willing to tell you, though you probably won't believe. Heck, I wouldn't believe it, but it happened." "Tell me please," Sakura gently begged. "Do you want Hinata-chan to join us?" Naruto asked, and only got a nod. With a soft smile, the Saiyan leaned in again, began another deep kiss, and again Sakura moaned into it. So that where I'll end it. Remember, you want part 2, like, comment and subscribe, and remember the disrespect is real. Goodbye.